Congressman-elect Ben Cline gets sworn in tomorrow, January 3rd, Republican 6th District of Virginia, and he's representing the 6th District, which is a sprawling area of central and southwest Virginia. It goes from Lynchburg to Roanoke, and he'd be replacing the retired Bob Goodlatte. Congressman-elect Ben Cline, tomorrow I can call you Congressman Ben Cline. Great to have you, sir.
John, it's great to be with you, and happy anniversary. It's been a great 8 years. I've been honored to be able to say I've been joined you over the past several. I don't think I've made it 8, but you've deserved the accolades you're getting, and hope you get to celebrate a little bit.
Well, you know what, Ben? I always enjoyed going to your office. I remember when I was in Lynchburg that time we met. You came in and cut a few ads for us, and whenever I was in Richmond, I would knock on your door, and you would just step out of the meeting and talk to me. Always accessible, and I always appreciated that. You know, when you get to Congress, here's my fear, right? Here's my fear. You get there, and you just become part of the swamp. You know, you get there, and, you know, you got to raise money, and you get the lobbyists going in every day, and Ben Cline is the opposite of that. So how do you self-protect yourself from not becoming one of them?
Well, that's a legitimate fear, and that's something that I've seen happen to a lot of good people. They go in there and they get just kind of sucked in by the swamp, and they become part of the whole system. And I would just say, look at my history in Richmond, 16 years in the House of Delegates, and arguably getting more conservative as I move along, head of the equivalent of the Freedom Caucus down there, and fighting my own leadership as often as I'm fighting the Democrats. And so I'm anxious I always say I'm going up to Washington to join the fight, not the club. And so I'm anxious to get up there and join the fighters. And there are some good ones up there, and be a part of the Freedom Caucus and get some things done, as well as stop some of the more egregious things from happening that Nancy Pelosi is going to be pushing.
Well, look, you're going to be right in the middle of it, and you get sworn in tomorrow. Now, I know Denver Riggleman also getting sworn in. His party is at the Library of Congress. Where's yours?
It's in the Rayburn office building in the foyer there. They, must have thought I'd be a troublemaker, so they put me right near the exits so they could, I guess, kick us out faster when we cause trouble. But so we'll be in the Rayburn foyer. Got a couple hundred folks from the 6th Congressional District coming up by bus, and I couldn't think of a better way to start than being surrounded by good conservative friends who helped me at last fall, and get to celebrate with them as we get sworn in, and alongside my good friend Denver, who's going to be down the hall from me in the Longworth House office building, just down the hall.
And Ben, what time tomorrow is your event for open to the public if people want to come in and wish you well?
Well, we would ask you to let us know. So you can email us at info@bencline.com and let us know that, or go on Facebook and let us know you're going to be coming so we can budget for you. We got lunch planned, and it'd be great to have as many folks as would like to come. But we'll be there in the morning before we go over to get sworn in, around 11. And then after we get sworn in, during the swearing in, we're going to have TV so that folks can watch it. And then afterward, we're going to have tours of the Capitol and tours of my office, and you can see what number one in this lottery for freshmen will get you. It essentially gets you the most square footage, and you get to actually have a window with a tree outside. But it's a good opportunity for me to thank the folks as they come through, and then buses will be hitting the road around 3.
All right, so if you want to attend, info@bencline.com, info@bencline.com. And I'm going to attend. Do I have to do the info at Ben Cline, or can you just pass it along?
No, you get a special pass. John, you get special treatment.
Well, thank you.
You're part of this. I'm going to set you aside from all the fake news. you're one of the few who actually broadcasts the real thing and the truth, and so we're going to give you special access.
Well, thank you, Congressman-elect Ben Cline. I appreciate that. I'll be at the Rayburn Foyer tomorrow. My show ends at 10. I think I got an interview with somebody after that, and I'll be over around noon, and hopefully I can get there in time to see you get sworn in on TV. We're looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So now let's get to business. So you get sworn in, then you come in, you got a government shutdown. Nancy Pelosi says she's got bills going through the House, doesn't expect any Republicans to back it, doesn't care, says who cares? No wall, no funding. We're going to open the government, and that's that. What's the answer here?
Well, I worry that there aren't enough backbones collectively in the House or in the Senate to withstand the swamp fighting for its paychecks, and that's part of the problem. I mean, it's the swamp fighting to survive. It's their survival at stake here in this shutdown, and you would think, just looking at it from a politically strategic standpoint, that Republicans would have the leverage because, the government is mainly made up of the base of the other side that want their, that want their operations for their government, that they would give the president his wall and give us, those of us fighting for border security, what we want: a secure border that includes a wall that is going to address the problem of illegal immigration, which is one of the reasons that I got elected in the first place. So, but we seem to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory every time. And I'm hopeful, and I'm optimistic, but I'm also a realist. And when you got people like Mitt Romney out there slamming the president before he even gets sworn in as a senator, it's disappointing. So I'm not sure the Senate will hold. I hope they will, but I'm not sure they will.
Well, listen, they have to hold, but you bring up a good point, Congressman-elect Ben Cline, Republican, 6th District, Virginia, that Mitt Romney hasn't even taken office. He hasn't even gotten sworn in. He's already doing op-eds. Mitt Romney, who took us down to the feet in 2012, Bain Capital, he outsourced jobs, part of the donor class, part of the gangster bankers on Wall Street. I mean, why do we have, right out of the bat, we're in the middle of a negotiation and you get Mitt Romney doing an op-ed slamming Trump, who's trying to do the right thing in order to get border security in the United States, so we have a sovereign country. I mean, you have to get up on January 2nd and deal with this guy. But you're right. That is epidemic of what you're going to deal with in the U.S. Senate going forward, right?
Yeah. And Utah is a great conservative state, and they elect great conservatives like Mike Lee, who's a fantastic senator who I can't wait to get to work with. But to come in and for your first order of business to be to write an op-ed for the Washington Post slamming the president's moral credibility is just misplaced priorities. It's just, I would hope that Romney would put his knowledge and his experience to better use, maybe in helping to address this economic situation we've got right now. But instead, he's just decided to go off on tangent slamming our president. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to dealing with Washington. And I'm looking forward to working with great conservatives like Jim Jordan and Mark Meadows and hopefully trying to keep everybody focused on the priorities at hand, which is, helping our president, making sure that we can drain the swamp, making sure that we can balance the budget, making sure we can get our fiscal house in order. And that's what I'm aiming to do from day one.
We're with Ben Cline, who is vowing that he's not going to be part of the swamp when he gets up there. Denver Riggleman has said the same thing. One of the other issues, besides being one of the swamp monsters that just engulf you in there, Ben, as you know, is being out of touch or being aloof. I mean, one of the criticisms of my friend Dave Brett in the 7th District, why he got beat, is that he went up there. He certainly didn't become part of the swap. No question. I mean, Dave was battling those people every day, would get on my show every Monday and tell you all the nonsense that went on every single day. But he got a lot of criticism for not really connecting back with his district. And, we all have to learn from that, because I thought Dave deserved to get reelected. But all the feedback I got, people that abandoned him, said, he just didn't really come back and talk to us. How do you ensure that that is not going to happen when you've got such a big district?
Well, you got to grab the bull by the horns. And so when I got into office, people said, you got to be accessible, you got to be available. So I said, listen, I've had town hall meetings in my State House district for 16 years.
Right.
And I've gotten liberals in my face, confronting me about their priorities at my town hall meetings for 16 years.
Right.
And we talk. And that's how we resolve it. So I had 4 town hall meetings immediately back in December. Mm-hmm. And I had them in the 4 localities that I lost. Mm-hmm. I only lost 4 of the 19 localities. Mm-hmm. But I had them in Roanoke City, Lexington City, Stanton City, and Harrisonburg City. And you know what? We talked. Mm-hmm. And I got to hear from them about the issues that were important to them, and I disagreed with them. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Once you talk through your positions with people, they appreciate that you're willing to listen to them, because a lot of it is just about listening when it comes to reaching out in your district. And so I'm going to continue to have town hall meetings, and I'm going to continue to listen. And that may not win over the liberals. They may continue to, want to protest and disrupt. Some of them do, but hopefully fewer of them will see the need to disrupt when they realize that I'm going to be out there listening, and I'm going to be out there working just as hard for them when it comes to helping with constituent services. I may not agree with them on the issues, but I'll go to bat for them if they're not getting, addressed by a government agency or something like that. That's an important part of the work we do. I want to represent the whole district, but taking it to the district and making sure that the liberals understand that you're not going to run and just refuse to hold town hall meetings or refuse to be accessible. That's an important part of it.
I just love what you said, the fact that you had 4 town hall meetings in December, all in the 4 cities, or all in the 4 areas you lost in the general election: Lexington City, Harrisonburg City, Roanoke City, and what was it, Stanton? What was the other one?
Yeah, Stanton City.
Stanton City. I mean, the fact that you went there, because I have the same approach. I mean, if you can't have a conversation, you just can't ever solve. You might not solve something through a conversation. You might not reach agreement, but it is absolutely guaranteed if you don't talk to somebody, you're never going to get there. And so you have to understand what other people are saying. And it doesn't mean you're going to get swayed or you're going to cave, but you have to understand the other person's perspective. And I think the right thing. And look, all you can do is learn. I think both you and Denver have to learn from the mistakes that were made by Dave, because Dave was a great congressman and he did a lot of great things, but he didn't get back to his district to satisfy his constituents. And as a result, he got beat. And I think you got to learn from that. And it sounds like, Ben Cline, you're well on the way. I can just say from a personal standpoint, I've known you for a long time. You've returned every phone call I've ever made, to return every text I've ever sent. You've had an open door policy every time I've come in there. I've got 1 minute. Let's switch to Virginia. You're now out of the House of Delegates. Can Kirk Cox hold the House in 2019?
Kirk Cox can hold the House in 2019. I think that a lot of the districts that were lost in 2017 can be won back. I believe that we've got some good candidates already running up in Northern Virginia districts, and I think that we can win those back, and a couple in the beach area, a couple in Richmond suburbs, and hold the House. So I feel good about that. I'm going to be working hard in the 6th to make sure that that there is no weak spot in the 6th district, there are a couple of districts that they like to point out, Corey Stewart barely won this or didn't win this, or, Tim Kaine won this state house district or whatever. Well, that doesn't apply when you're dealing with great individual delegates like Tony Wilt in Harrisonburg. Tony Wilt's going to win his district.
All right, I got to take off
because he is responsive.
Ben, how much time? I got to take off. John Fredericks Radio Network. More information. What's your website, Ben?
BenCline.com.